Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Our show today is A Woman's Prerogative in partnership with E360 TV. Today's topic is going to be a very, very juicy one. I'm really looking forward to this topic, and I'm sure that we'll have a part 2, 3, 4 and 5. It is feminine spirit, how women experience and express spirituality. So before we begin with our topic, let me share with you a little bit about me. I'm Caroline HEWARD, and I'm absolutely thrilled and honoured to be representing Dr. Jacqueline as your host for USA Global TV and Radio's flagship show, A Woman's Prerogative. I'm a TV presenter for the channel and also the resident therapist for USA Global TV and Radio. A very, very warm welcome to our loyal viewers and our new viewers and friends on E360 TV. And a hello to our friends on our usual social media channels, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook and X. I am joined today by our full-time panelist, the wonderful Reverend LYDIA, FOUGERES, all the way from Canada. She is a TV presenter on this channel. She is an author, bilingual in self-help. She is a registered nurse, a holistic nurse. She's an intuitive and spiritual healer. She is the inventor of Miracle Mist, which is patent pending. She's also an advocate for free rights. Let's welcome Reverend LYDIA FOUGERES, all the way from Canada.
Thank you very much. That was a very nice welcome. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Reverend LYDIA, and wonderful to see you here this evening. Well, it's this evening for me and this afternoon for you in Canada. We are truly global. Please do share with our viewers a little bit about what you do and how you serve people.
Well, as a reverend, I do actually visit people. I actually practice, I celebrate weddings. I'm a chakra healer. I'm an intuitive healer. And also what I do is that, I advocate for free rights. So we have a lot of immigrants lately. So I actually help them find shelter, food, all they need, because they come to Canada. It is very new. In my province, there are 2 languages. There's in French and English, and many do not speak French and have trouble getting around. So I try to help them adjust to the new life in Canada.
Thank you very much, Reverend LYDIA, and we'll be hearing more about how you work and what you do and how you help people during the show tonight, I am sure. For me, I'm known as the Harley Street Stress Expert, and as I mentioned earlier, I am also a TV presenter on this channel, USA Global TV and Radio, and the resident therapist. I help people bust their stress. How do I do that? I work with root cause therapy and chakra psychology, how the mind and body connects and what happens to the person physically, emotionally, mentally, behaviorally when there's an imbalance. And the imbalance is the symptom. Many people walk around and they say, I'm not stressed. And in the next breath, they're saying that they're not sleeping and they're complaining about an intimate relationship or family member, or they're very angry. And this is how their symptoms are showing up. And so that stress is manifesting in the physical, the emotional, and the mental, and the behavioral bodies. And I help people break through by finding the root cause and eliciting that from their blueprint of what creates their everyday stress time and time again. I'm also a speaker and an author, and I also help people break through their patterns of stress by education and mentoring, by understanding what is creating their stress. So I do lunch and learn for corporates, and I speak on stage as well. So let's now move into the topic. Reverend Lydia, I have Reverend Lydia to thank for suggesting this topic, and I don't know why we haven't thought about it before now. So, Reverend Lydia, as you created the topic, as you thought about that you wanted to talk about this topic, what does spirituality mean to you personally?
Spirituality means actually being in synchronization with the divine source, but also with everyone on earth. I consider that we are just one. We are one unity. So we are one spirit, and we have to work on it. So the thing is that I decided that that was a good topic because I would like people to understand that spirituality is not about religion. It is absolutely not about religion, because I am not a religious reverend. I am a reverend in metaphysics. And people try to say that I am into some kind of weird religion, but it is not that. It is that in metaphysics, we actually have no boundaries. So that is why I decided that this topic we should actually look at this avenue, because people do not understand the difference between spirituality and religion. So this is the way, that is how I came up with the topic. So
Well, thank you very much, Reverend Lydia. I'm in agreement with you in terms of the fact that many people, when you say that you have spiritual practices or that you have spiritual ethics and leanings and wisdoms, that they generally think, and it's only that my experience too, not only, sort of yours, it's mine too, that people naturally think, oh, you're very religious then. And I usually tell them, when I was young, I was brought up as a Christian from 5 years old to 15, and that was a Christian religion. And what I feel spirituality is, it's a way of living and being without the constraints of a particular text that you're working from, actually working from your own inner compass of values. And many people that were friends of mine thought that I was a Buddhist way back before I even thought that I was working in a Buddhist way. And I said, oh, no, I'm not a Buddhist. And one of my friends particularly, she said, I hope you don't mind, but I've told a few of the people around the table that we're meeting up with tonight that that you're very religious and you're a Buddhist. And I said, whatever gives you that idea, because I'm not. And she said, if I were you, I'd go and explore it, because that's what I see you as. And I went and started to explore it, and I realized that is exactly how I was being. And it was somebody else's feedback that gave me that insight that made me look and explore further. So I do quite agree with you, Reverend Lydia, that it is not about religion. It's a way of being, and in not being confined to Christianity, it's made me look at all sorts of religions and wisdoms and learnings from all different faiths and spiritual paths. And I'm living in a space where I'm open to all and embracing all. What are your thoughts about what I've just shared, Reverend Lydia?
well, I actually think the same, absolutely the same, because I am open to all religions, because I always say there's good in every religion. there is good people in every religion, bad people in every religion, and people that have no religion, whatever, are nice people anyway. So the thing is, people think that we have to have a religious background, we have to belong to a certain religion to actually be part of a group, a so-called group. But it is not that important. We have to be open to all kinds of religions. Many religions actually, they do not let you access other religions because they are afraid of losing their disciples. So it is very hard to understand why we are only with one religion and we're not looking at other religions and focusing on the fact that if we're into one religion, we are right. So it is not that we are right, it is that we do not have the big picture. And it is not necessarily being right, it's just having the big picture. So every religion has good, every religion has their bad sides also. But actually, and people that have no religion whatsoever are as good as those that are good and are into religions. So I always say people are not bad, they take bad decisions. So this is whatever, no matter their religion, no matter how they see. Some people, they pray to the Gaia, the planet Earth, to Gaia, some to the wind, the air, the sand, whatever. Everything is fine as long as you do it with respect for the others. Because the minute someone is in a religion and wants to push their religion in someone else's head, well, it is not the way to go. This is taking away their free rights because they're trying to convince someone that they are right. So trying to convince someone that you are totally right about your religion is like pushing too far the envelope. So that is the way I see it.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia. Sorry,
good.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry, you were going to say?
Well, I say spirituality is the right way to go.
I was nodding in the background through everything that you said. I felt like a nodding dog, and I'm in total agreement. And I've actually found organisations where all communities, religion, faith, background are included without judgment. And I belong to an organisation called the Universal Peace Federation, which is international. And they have a saying, one family under God. And I feel that's beautiful because it recognizes and embraces all faiths, all cultures, all religions, because it is about spirituality. And in my own personal journey, I discovered that it was not about, it doesn't matter what you call that the Almighty One, God, Allah, whatever your name is. I feel that all paths lead to peace, and all paths lead to compassion and thought for one another, and embracing your own personal journey in terms of keeping yourself in a place of peace and growth. And that's something that I have realized, whereas when I was brought up as a Christian in my early days, I felt that I had to choose. And now I feel that I'm almost like in a sweet shop, and I can be and encompass all sorts of structures and wisdoms and learnings from all the different paths and find value in all of them. And I don't have any judgment because all paths lead to inner peace. So, Reverend Lydia, I'm really interested to know, and I'm sure that our viewers would be interested to know, what sparked your spiritual journey? What was it what event or circumstance, what was it that changed? Because usually when we embark on a spiritual journey, there is something, or maybe a combination of things. And I'd be really interested, and I'm sure our viewers would be interested in understanding a little bit about your spiritual journey.
Well, actually, I come from a very religious background. I had my great uncle was a priest. Two of my great aunts were nuns. And I realized very young that my aunts that were nuns were not treated the same way as my uncle that was a priest. So I wanted to understand why it was, and I wanted to understand what it was with other religions, other ways of thinking. And I come from a town where there were all religions, people spoke every language. I come from a place where there was no racism, there was no poverty, no whatever. A person that was 55 years old in my town actually was considered a very old person, because everyone was retiring at that age and left the town because it was a mining town. So we did not have any people that were over 55 or over 60. We did not have any of those. And the fact is that when we're raised in a spirit where we see all religions and all backgrounds, and we realize that they're right in every way, whether it's Christian, Muslim, whatever, the thing is that they at a point are so right. And I was raised thinking, I was raised being told that Jesus was the only way to go to the divine source, which I realized very young. I was 10 years old. I realized that was wrong. So there are so many ways, because I could see people of many religions and they did not even know anything about Christianity. And it did not make them a bad person or a person with a bad decision. So I decided at 10 that I had to see other things. And I started seeing other things. And I had a very open, my parents were very open to me studying other religions, other ways. They never stopped me. And that was my luck. The fact that I had parents that did not stop me from looking at new avenues. So I started meditation very young. I started all those spiritual ways. And but I still am a Christian, but I do not consider Christianity as the only way to enlightenment. Because after all, what do we want? We want enlightenment. Well, some only want money, that's okay. But the best thing that we should be after is not a big bank account. It should be enlightenment. So I see that, people do not understand we're all interconnected. And they decide that, if we're not in one group, we're not part of the gang. But if we see it differently, we will see that we are all one.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia, for your transparency, and thank you for sharing your amazing childhood. I think that's absolutely wonderful. I had a very different background, but we have just reached the point of our commercial break. And when we come back, I will share a little bit about what moved me into the journey that I call my spiritual journey, and then we'll move on to finding out a little bit more and exploring more. So now over to our short commercial break. Please come back, and we look forward to exploring more about spirituality, the feminine spirit, how women experience and express spirituality. Bye-bye for now, and be back shortly.
We face daily cyber risks, spending over 7 hours of screen time, including 4.5 hours on mobile phones. This convenience comes with significant dangers, with cybercrime costs predicted to exceed $10.5 trillion by 2025. In 2023 alone, seniors lost over $3.4 billion to cybercrime. Our goal is to make social engineering concepts of cybersecurity easier to understand. We work with business teams, senior living facilities, investment companies, and educational institutions, both individually and in groups. We offer real-life examples to help you recognize and prevent attacks, with sessions available both in person, in selected regions, and remotely. Schedule your training session or to to learn more, contact us today. Call us at 847-845-9360. Email us at info@cybersecurityeasy.com. Protect your team and family with cybersecurityeasy.com.
Hello and welcome back to A Woman's Prerogative in partnership with E360 TV. We've been having an incredible exploration, my full-time panelist, Reverend LYDIA FOUGERES, and myself, and we've been looking at the feminine spirit, how women experience and express spirituality. So let's move further into our exploration. Let's welcome back Reverend LYDIA, our full-time panelist. Thank you, Reverend LYDIA. And welcome back if you're here on the live or the replay. So I was about to share what made me move into my spiritual journey, as before the break we heard about Reverend LYDIA's background and what made her move into her spiritual evolving adventure. So for me, I didn't come from a religious family. There was no religion at all in my family. And at 5 years old, I remember stomping and stamping and demanding my mum took me to church. And I don't know where it came from, because there was no one in my family that were church people. There was no Bible and there was no ethos within the family. So I'm not quite sure where it came from, but that was what I insisted. And my mum took me to church, and then I landed up from 5 to 15, living a lot of my time in church, joining the choir and youth clubs. So I had very much an instructional background in terms of something that I wanted to do as a child that was different from my family. And when I left the church when I was 15, I then explored and went deeper into my studies and my career. And in 2000, my father passed away, and being a corporate girl and a very successful one at the time, I went into a depression because I landed up organizing things. There's always one person in the family that does that kind of organizing, and I was that person. And I didn't grieve. And what happened was I went into this clinical diagnosis of a depression. And when I became aware of that depression, I started seeking answers and looking for what happened to me and why it happened. And that questioning, that internal questioning, led me into a spiritual adventure and a spiritual journey. And I started exploring Eastern philosophy and Eastern culture. Now that started in 2000. And it led me to look at other organizations that I could belong to. And in 2019, I joined an organization called Universal Peace Federation. And behind it, I didn't realize that there was a church. And so I was in the wilderness for 40 years. And there is something significant about 40 years, because at 55, I rediscovered and reclaimed my love of Christianity and reunited my faith with God. So it was quite an adventure in terms of my exploration and the avenues that I explored in getting back to where I had started when I was young. And that exploration allowed me to feel and be more inclusive and not to be judging of anyone or anything. And I feel that it was a good journey, because all roads, I realized, led to the inner peace and compassion. Do you have any thoughts to share about what I've just shared, Reverend LYDIA?
Well, actually, it started for you with a depression. But for me, what happened is that in 2001, I was diagnosed with parasites, and my world collapsed, because my world was my career, and my world collapsed because I was bedridden for years, and I was in a wheelchair. I was attending the Anglican Church. I did enjoy it very much. I was not aware that I had been a very spiritual person, because in my career, what would happen is that if someone was not well, if I was not sure the person would actually get better, I would go to the chapel of the hospital and I would go and pray for them. I do that every single day for different patients. I call them patients because you have to be patient to be in the system.
I love that. That's brilliant.
So I was going to the chapel, and you know what? What is weird is that my patients were better off than the others. So it had something to do with elevating the vibrations of my patients with my love. That was the way it was. So that is the way I was working. And when I left my work because I was ill, I decided that I would not be a, a person that was to be pitied, that I was aligned with the divine source, and that I would still be happy, whatever it was, that I would find peace in what was happening. And I did. I did. I still have. I still have that peace.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia. That's amazing and so inspirational in terms of where you found your inner peace. So you've described how some of your practices within your working environment as a reverend. Can you share with our audience and our viewers some of your personal practices that you do in your personal life? So things that bring you inner peace and joy.
Well, I meditate to start with. Every single day I meditate. I practice shamanism. I'm a shaman and I love it. So I work with the elements also. I celebrate weddings. I do things that actually make me so close to the divine source by helping others. So with my spirituality and the fact that I always have been with women, I was always with groups of women. Sometimes there was only one man and we were 50 women. So it was pretty much women that were in my surrounding. And we got along. And the thing is that we were very spiritual. We were not very religious. We were very spiritual. And we believed into getting our vibrations higher for the better good of the planet. So that was the way we were dealing. And in shamanism, it is absolutely extraordinary to practice this avenue. My initiation was 20 years ago by the tribe the Lakotas. And it was the most amazing event ever. I wish that for everyone because shamanism is absolutely extraordinary, just like being a spiritual person on a spiritual journey. We can do it in many forms. We can do it in many ways, and we can adopt someone else's ways anytime if it fits us.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia. What inspirational shares that you are sharing tonight. I have also had some experience of exploring shamanism, and I entered onto the medicine wheel. I only looked at one aspect of shamanism, that was the serpent energy on the main medicine wheel, and it certainly was challenging to say the least, and very enriching as well in terms of the learnings and the wisdom that it gave me. For you, Reverend Lydia, do you feel there is a difference? Because you mentioned about the fact that you joined groups and there were mainly women and there were some men. Do you feel from your own personal experience that men find spirituality in different ways, or do you feel it's the same? What are your thoughts in terms of your experience of those mixed groups?
Well, actually, men do find spirituality in every way, but we women, we have more intuition and we are more open to new avenues. Men, everything has to be logical with them. And, spirituality, there's nothing logical about spirituality. as I was saying, if you're in a context of psychiatry and someone is talking on the, they're talking to themselves, well, the others will think they are nuts, which is not happening. The thing is that if they are in a church and they're talking to themselves, everyone will say, oh, wow, that person is so rich in their religion, they're talking to God. So it depends. If you're in a psychiatric ward and you're talking to yourself, well, the thing is that you have the risk of having more trouble than talking to yourself in a church. So that is the way it is. And men have difficulty because of their logic. We go with our hearts. We are mothers. Even if we have not become a mother, we are still mothering, whatever. We always find a way to mother. So we do not have to have children to be a mother. That is the way I see it. People in the world, they call me mother. I'm not their mothers. I'm there to help. That is all. So it's not because I am called mother that I have 5,000 children. That is it. So it is like you, Caroline. You are a mother and you just do not have physical children, but you are the mother to many. So that is the way it works. We women, we're different. Men are more logical. They will ask for proof. Giving proof is not always easy, but I do manage to give proof to many men. But the fact is that, when you're a woman, you're in your love, you're into your heart. It's easy to be in your heart. When it comes to men, it is a little more difficult to be in their heart because they think it's being a feeble to be in their heart. So I do see that more men are joining the spiritual movement, more men are coming and joining us, but there are not enough. We have to open the doors to men because we women, we've got it when it comes to spirituality. Men are just starting because they were told that they had to be the ones that bring in the income, the food, whatever, and they did not take the time for their spiritual self. So that is the way it is. Women have it easy, men have it harder because they had to be logical to be in this world. That is how they are raised. They're not raised to be religious or spiritual. They're raised to bring. That is the way it is. It all depends.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia. I too share with you the experiences of being in spiritual communities when I first started, and it was mainly women. And I'm pleased to say that I'm seeing a lot more young men in these spiritual communities, which is quite rewarding to see and experience, because I feel that the male energy, and we are both masculine and feminine, so I feel that the masculine energy in those types of communities is also very rewarding. And when I see couples together in a gong bath, for instance, or a meditation or chanting at a concert, it really fills my heart, because that's a couple together celebrating and experiencing their own spirituality and their own spiritual path and their journey together. So I always feel quite heartened when I see that. Reverend Lydia, what advice would you give to someone that's just starting out on their spiritual path? As a reverend, because that's what I'm interested in. You've moved from your religious path and really expanded that. And I'm interested, from the space of you being a reverend, if somebody came up to you and said, what do I do? Like, there's so much. Where do I start? Can you make some suggestions? Because it's overwhelming. There is so much in social media. What are your thoughts in terms of what would the first thing be for them to explore? Now, we are very short of time. This show has gone around very quickly. So please do share a quick tip in terms of what would be good for them to begin their spiritual path.
Well, I would say meditation has many forms. So whether they're fishing, they're walking, they're praying, whatever, they're still in meditating state. So to keep it simple, that is the way. You keep it simple. When it's complicated, well, you're not gaining any access to the divine source. So keep it simple and baby steps.
I'm so in agreement with you, because there is so much out there. It can be really overwhelming. My simple and quick tip is to move into a state of gratitude. I actually, in each email that I do, and as much as when I remember in communicating with people, especially in a call, I always say thank you, because the more that you say thank you, the more that you receive of what you're being grateful for. So when you move into a state and the altitude of gratitude, you move into a heart vibration, and that changes how you experience life and how people experience you, and that changes everything for the better. So Reverend Lydia, please do share your contact details for our viewers. What's the best way to contact you?
Well, they can call me in Canada with WhatsApp, because at 1514-582-6882, and they can take an appointment with me. If they want to join any program that I do, they can also email me at greatdivinemother@gmail.com, or they can actually call me, text me on WhatsApp also. So I will answer. I will be happy. And there's also LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn also, but with my full name, Lydia Guylaine Fougères. So it's pronounced Gillen, but it's written in a French way, because everyone knows I have a French background. So that is it. So that is how to join me.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia. And for me, you can reach me on email, nomorstress@live.co.uk, or call me if you're international, +44 if you're local, 07523 120 189. You can follow me on LinkedIn and Facebook. Those are my two preferred platforms. I'm getting slowly into Instagram, but my preferred platforms are LinkedIn and Facebook. Drop me a message there or make a comment on any of the shows, and I'll be happy to help you in any way that I can. I offer a free initial short consultation and a very, very silly priced 1-hour consultation. You can also find me on YouTube. If you Google my name and YouTube, tons of videos come up from USA Global TV and Radio, packed with insightful shares. We have been exploring tonight feminine spirit, how women experience and express spirituality, in our show tonight, A Woman's Prerogative, in partnership with E360 TV. I believe that we haven't even scratched the surface. There is more to share. Please do join our VIP exclusive community and become an exclusive VIP community member for first access to our newest videos, photographs and insights on the royal family and the British royal family, which is live streamed on YouTube and USA Global TV and Radio. We have surpassed and reached, I think it's 100,000 subscribers. So please do subscribe to the channel, where we share entertainment, hope and inspiration. We are very excited about all the things that are happening with USA Global TV and Radio. So please do subscribe and learn and watch and be inspired by our top educators and presenters. Thank you very much, everybody. You've been watching A Woman's Prerogative. We will be back at the same time, which is 7 p.m. A British summertime. We've now moved into British summertime, and 2 p.m. Eastern time every Monday evening. Bye-bye for now, and I look forward to seeing you next week on the live or the replay. And now over to our sponsors.
In a world full of noise, misunderstandings, and interruptions, master the art of listening with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck is the listening mentor of USA Global TV and Radio and the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. Elevate your listening. Elevate your life. Join a global learning experience in person or via Zoom. Reserve your spot today. usaglobaltv.com/book-your-session or drjacqueline.thinkific.com. Join Dr. Kerbeck's listening courses or hire her to unlock deeper connections and authentic conversations. Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.